Oh. So hello everybody. Today is February 4th, 2023. This is our first Zoom gathering in 2023. I am so grateful to have Helmut Kigen sensei from Germany. He's been practicing Shiatsu, Zen, meditation, and Qigong, and so many other modalities. And today's specialty is so interesting, empty hands. I cannot wait to hear more about it. Thank you. But before, let's put the both hands together and gasho, meditate. And let's pray for everybody. Namu Shinyo Ichinyoto Totoki Mihotokeo Nenji Tatematsuru Zangi Zange Rokkon Zaisho Metsujo Bonno Metsujo Gonsho Om Saraba Tatagyata Hanana no Kyomi. And let's reflect ourselves and balance our yin-yang energy to do our best to help others. And Kigen Sensei, please take away from here.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kumiko-san. I'm very appreciated to be here today together with you all, and also see some friends, which is very nice. There's just one idea for the first moment. If you switch your microphones on mute, so that there are no distracting noises, as I know from my experience. Thank you very much for that. And then I want to introduce you my good friend here, Silke. She's from Germany too, from my area.
Hi guys.
Silke, and her nickname is Sissi, like the Austrian empress. And so Silke will be my model today, and we are sharing now some aspects, and I'm happy to do so. So please lie down. Just have the sheet here. On your back, please. Yeah, so first of all, I really want to clear up some things for the Shiatsu we are sharing. First of all, there is just our reference system. So what is Shiatsu? From the Japanese language, we know sometimes it's translated as finger pressure, like in German Fingerdruck, with the two characters from Japanese. But for me, Shiatsu is resonance with life itself. Resonance with life. And the reference system is the energetics. So normally, some people are talking in terms of body work when they're practicing Shiatsu. They're talking about body work and not about energy work. But for me, definitely, it's energy work. Because we are in contact with the energetics of the person. So to say is to be in contact with the physical energy, but also the emotional energy and the mental energy and spiritual energy, intellectual energy, and many more aspects of the energetics. And so it is not only physical, so there are many more metaphysical aspects included. That's very important. And we will see why. And the next thing is the reference system is energy work, and what type of reference system in Shiatsu, in energetics. So it's important to know what is the reference system of your Shiatsu. So is it Namikoshi style, Namikoshi Shiatsu? Is it Matsunaga Shiatsu, or is it related to the 5 elements or the TCM stuff or so? You have to know how your work is set up. And so my work is set up by my learning and my training by Ohashi, whom I was following my first year. So there were 1 or 2 classes with Ohashi and then some special classes. And afterwards, I finished my training in the Ohashi Institutes and later on the EISI Institute, the European Shiatsu Institute. And then became known to Pauline Sasaki. And she had been my teacher for 20 years throughout all that time. And that led me to my Shiatsu style, which is called the empty touch Shiatsu. And empty touch Shiatsu is based on Pauline Sasaki's quantum Shiatsu, but also on my experiences as a Zen monk in the Zen Buddhistic area, but also some influences from other methods in the world. So to say the Indian shamans and the Celtic tradition and some Tibetan traditions, and also stuff like yoga or Ayurveda. But anyway, at some point in my work, I definitely decided to stay with Shiatsu, to stay with energy work through dancing with the body. So I come back to that aspect of what is Shiatsu. For me, it's resonance with life. So when we are in touch with a person, with a client, I know, I'm aware of being in touch not only with the body, not only with this leg or the thigh or a meridian or a point on the body. I know, I'm aware that I'm in touch with the person, with the wholeness of that person, which is also her thinking and her emotions and her spiritual aspects, as I mentioned, but also, which is very important for me, that I'm in touch how life expresses through my client, through that person. So to say how life is expressing through Silke. So the sun is expressing through Silke, the moon, the nature, the rain, the snow, the earth, the heaven, everything is expressing through her energy. Why? Because if we're talking about energy and energetics and energy work in Shiatsu, we know this kind of energy is not only the human energy, it's the universal energy, or to say the cosmic energy, which includes everything. So this type of holistic approach that we are in touch, if we are in touch with one part, we are in touch with the whole. If we are in touch with one point, let's say on the body, we are in touch with feelings, thoughts, with nature, with the sun, with the stars, with daylight, with nightlight, with the starlight, and with any aspects in universe. This is very important because this decides how my Shiatsu is in resonance with life through that person. So let's have a look on few aspects and then go ahead with some steps on this pathway with that type of multidimensional Shiatsu that I'm working with. So the first thing is a very practical thing. I got this sheet here, and I always use the sheet, putting it on my clients. So I will do so here with Silke. And why do I use the sheet? So because when I'm touching in Shiatsu and using this sheet, I can make sure that my touch is not irritated by the clothes of the person. So let's say there is some cotton, there's some wool, or there's some skin, or there's some hair. So if I use the sheet, everything feels the same from the tissues, from the touch of tissue. It's not too much of a difference. So any differences derive from energy. So it's just a little thing. So then the next thing is, what's my focus in Shiatsu? I think a few of you have already heard that this type of Shiatsu style, based on the quantum Shiatsu style of Pauline Sasaki, aims for the good energies, not for the sick energies or the negative energies, but for the positive energies, the good energies. Or let's say it's not the pathogenic key we are following, but it's the anti-pathogenic key we are following, or we are led through the session, which is also very important, because when I'm approaching the person, and let's say after having a talk, or even through having the first talk during a first session, I'm not asking, and that's important, I'm not asking about symptoms or about problems or about diseases. I hardly do so. I never ask, or I hardly ask any of those questions. So how do I ask, or how do I approach in a communication with the client at the beginning? I'm just asking, where is your energy? Maybe it's more like everyday language. So I'm asking, so where is your focus in your life right at that time? So the person might say, oh yeah, I'm just busy, and I'm just having some issues with my boss or something. But I'm continuing asking about life aspects. How is your private life? How is your body activation when you're doing sports or doing dancing or any type of body activity? So I'm asking about any aspects of how they are expressing their life, or how life expresses through them. I'm also asking about maybe diet, or maybe about spiritual practices or anything. So I get a sense and a feeling how the energy is expressing through that person. And so I'm opening up the focus of life itself, and not just reducing it to where are irritations or symptoms or diseases. Instead of that, I'm opening up for the wholeness of any aspects, including maybe occurring problems or symptoms. They are included, but it's not in the focus of my Shiatsu. So we call it is the anti-pathogenic approach in Shiatsu. So this means that in the first talk, we are not focused on the problems or issues, but we are focused on life. So what are the movements in your life? After doing that, I'm preparing myself for the session itself, and there is some way of assessment. So most people are using Hara assessment in their Shiatsu. I would say 50% of my clients, no less, let's say 40% of my clients, they are offering Hara assessment, let's say Hara diagnosis, or Hara palpation, where I'm focused on the meridians, the energetics of the meridians through the Hara. I think most of you are doing like this. But again, it's important how I'm doing this. So let's start. I know time is quick, so let's start and go on to the next step. So I'm going to contact the Hara. And when I'm going to contact the Hara, Silk is Hara here, I have to align myself. And it's crucial, how do I align myself? So I'm aligning myself not to focus on the fingertips or on the Hara areas on her body, because then I'm about to look. I don't do so. I center myself to receive, to be shown any informations of the person, of the energy, of the Hara, of the meridian areas. So, for not doing so, I have to center myself. Most people are centering in their own Hara. In this Shiatsu style, we are not centering in our Hara, but we are centering in our spine or in our main axis. I call it the heaven and earth unity axis. So I'm centering, I'm pulling back myself, my awareness, into my spine, into my heaven-earth connection, so to say, heaven-earth unity, and having a expanded version of centeredness, rather than having the center in my heart. So it's a centeredness in my spine, a centeredness in my heaven and earth unity, and in this way, centered in a multidimensional way of being centered. So I'm not centering like this, like the Hara centering, where mainly my body is stable and grounded and rooted and centered. So instead of that, it's like this. I'm opening up my own energy beyond my physical limitations. So mainly through the spine, because it's the center axis. And when I'm touching the Hara, I stay centered. I stay within my center in my expanded spine, in my heaven and earth unity. In doing so, I'm receiving information, or let's say energy information, or energy expressions from my client without looking for it. Because if I'm looking, I'm reducing my focus, I'm reducing my awareness. I'm opening up, pulling back, stay centered, and through this type of touch, I'm open to more of information, not only that information that is underneath my fingertips or on the surface of my client's Hara, so to say, the meridian areas. So, for instance, we are working with the Masnaga aspects. Then my Shiatsu Hara palpation for Hara diagnosis, or my assessment, Hara assessment, could look like this. So this is it. While I'm wandering through, moving through the meridian areas of the Masnaga chart on the Hara, I stay centered. While I'm walking through the areas, I don't walk, I don't do this. Because I'm no longer centered, I'm concentrated. So I don't do so. I stay centered, and while I'm in contact with each of the meridians, I don't focus or look for any information. I am receiver, and I stay as receiver. And I stay the most amount of openness I can do, which is I stay centered. I don't look. I am shown. I am shown by the person's Hara in this case. The next thing is When I'm touching, I'm not touching very physically, because then I get information more on the physical side. If I want to open my shiatsu on the metaphysics, I have to loosen up, release the tension of my hand, of my technique, of my wrist, of my arm, of my shoulder, of my whole being. I stay centered without any tension. I'm very relaxed. And I'm using a touch which is very easy, very energetic. The other thing is the speed of touch. I always talk to my students in this wonderful school here, the Körperschule Allgäu, the Shiatsu school here in our city. I always tell them, if you want to have a multidimensional information of the Hara, about the person or about energy, the universal energy expressing through the person, where your spectrum of energy is as wide open as it can be, then you have to move in a speed which is slightly faster than your thoughts can follow. Have you got that? You are wandering on the Hara just a little bit faster than your mind could follow. So it's like this. And it's not like this. It's not like this. I feel this, and I feel that, I feel that, I feel that, and so on. Yeah. So if I would do so, I'm in the logical system of three-dimensional way in comparing things and deciding things and thought coming up, popping up. But it's before I start thinking. It's before I compare. It's just the expression itself. So the technique on the Hara palpation should be just a little bit faster than usual, than your mind would do. And therefore you're going beyond thinking. And there is the space we call intuition. So with your intuitive openness of the non-physical aspects, there are the metaphysical aspects or non-physical aspects. So this is the time I'm touching the Hara for to connect that with the multidimensional aspect of Shiatsu, for not only being in touch with the physical, but the metaphysical. So now, next thing is, in my Shiatsu, there is the importance of having a focus also at the Hara. So it doesn't make a lot of sense if you have no focus and just be around the Hara and just waiting for something to pop up. But because there could pop up anything, colors or some tastes or some images or some kyos or some jitsus or so. So to avoid this, you have to also focus on the Hara so the person's higher self knows what to show. So for many Shiatsu practitioners, it's the kyo and the jitsu. So they focus on the kyo and the jitsu. I align myself, I'm centered, I stay receiver, I'm walking through the meridian areas and getting some information related to kyo and jitsu, if it is my focus. In my Shiatsu, during the last 15 years, I came up to go only with one meridian, because it's the principle of unity. And one meridian is related to that principle. So my focus is not 2 meridians or Kyo-Jitsu meridians. My Shiatsu on the Shiatsu is focused on 1 meridian. And I always call this type of 1 meridian palpation the axis or the portal, the doorway to the person's life. So you could think about a house Yeah, the person is living in that house, and through this type of Hara palpation, you are the receiver who is to be shown through which doorway we are entering this house, through which doorway we are invited to come into their world, their house, their home. So my Shiatsu style reduced from two to the oneness of energy, to the principle of oneness or unity, to focus on a meridian who is like a jump into the energetics, a jump into life of the person, a jump into the true being of the person. So I'm not looking for any meridians who have excess or deficiency, but my focus is to be open to be shown that meridian which has the appropriate access to life energy or to universal energy of my client. So to say it's not the access related to symptoms or problems or distortions, but it's related to where the power is, where the healing aspects are, where the unity is, where the wholeness is, where the true being of the person is, where her true potential is. It's looking for the essence. It's looking, or not looking, I told you we don't look, to be shown, the focus is to be shown where the essence is and how we approach the essence of the person, where there's the most power, the most healing power also. So when I'm walking through the areas, the Hara areas, while I'm staying aligned and not looking, I receive that information because I got that focus vibrating in my own energy field, that focus of that one meridian potential, which allows me to access life energy, which expresses through my client. So it's, so to say, it's like this. And it's small intestine. So I'm receiving small intestine meridian. I don't receive it here. It's just about to receive it from the wholeness of the Hara, and there's popping up some information which hits, with resonates with my energetic field, where I'm opened up for the full potential of my awareness, of my intuition. And through my intuitive attention, I get the information small intestine. And so my client shows me, please, let's meet together through that vibration of small intestine, because that's the best approach today, this moment in this session, to dance through a Shiatsu treatment. I said dance because for me, Shiatsu then is a dance. So if I got the small intestine, let's say I'm on the dance floor with my client Silke, and we are dancing the small intestine dance. And if we do so, she showed me that we doing so. And if we do so, we explore with our curiosity, with our spirit of adventure, and with our playfulness. We explore, where are you? Who are you in life? And how can you deal with life aspects, including any symptoms or diseases or distractions? So it's the life power and the access to life power when we do so. So in this case with Silke, I just was walking through the areas of the Hara, and then small intestine energy hit me, and I know it's the access, the doorway, it's the entrance to Silke's world, to Silke's resonance with life. And this is guiding me in this type of assessment on the Hara. Okay, we got that. And so the next thing is, and actually we do it when we are teaching the Shiatsu training here in our school. We've got a 4 years training. And in the last year of that training, the people the students learn how to get access to the Hara meridian aspects, going beyond the Kyoin-jitsu aspect, going beyond the polarity or the duality of Kyoin-jitsu, and taking the oneness. So this is, for some of you, maybe interesting, if you are working with 2 meridians or working with Kyoin-jitsu. If you got to find a Jitsu meridian, let's say here as liver meridian, and if you got to find a Kyo meridian, which I would say is the kidney. So I got one energy quality here with the Jitsu. I got one energy quality with Kyo. And then what I'm inviting you in this, or introducing you in this Shiatsu style is we are working with images. So why do we do this? Because images are multidimensional. Images are more than there's little energy, or there's a lot of energy, or there's weak energy and there's very active energy. Because this is related more to the 3-dimensional approach, to the multidimensional approach. I'm teaching and introducing you the aspect of the multidimensional through going beyond the 3-dimensional assessment. And so therefore I'm introducing the images. So if I'm on the Hara of my client, getting the information, and I got the liver, so I got an image of liver, and the liver image is like I have poles with brown color, like poles or columns, standing alone in a field. Not many, a few. What does it mean? I don't know. It's just the energetic power of this meridian, in this case, the liver, which was the Jitsu meridian, yeah. And then the kidney was the Kyo meridian, and I get an image of the kidney meridian like a type of trampoline. You know that sports kids for the children, where you can jump on the tissue, the rubber tissue, or kind of rubber tissue, the jumping thing. So when I am in touch, in contact, in resonance with the kidney energy, here I get the image of this swinging rubber-like band or tissue, like up and down, up and down, up and down. What does it mean? I don't know. How do we go to the 1 meridian touch? This is how I teach it for the students. You are in contact with the Jitsu, you're in contact with the Kyo, and there is the 1 image, there's the 2nd image, and then you're going beyond. You are letting go of the 2 images while you're in contact with both, where they meet. And so what do I have now? I now have an image where the sun is just looking around the shoulder of a mountain, just about to come out. Not up, but like out like this. And it's a very warm scenery, a very warm atmosphere, like very cozy atmosphere. while I'm in touch and keeping in touch with the Kyo and the Jitsu meridian. That's the other way we can work. If I'm focused not on Kyo and Jitsu, not on two meridians, but on one meridian, in this case, I got the small intestine, and I got the same image. I got the same image of this sun wandering out of the mountain's shoulder, like out of the shadow, let's say, kind of, and with these bright yellowish colors and that warm and cozy feeling. This is like a shortcut if you don't use two meridians or Kyo Jitsu. So that's the thing with images. Why do I use images? I told you that I'm using them because images are multidimensional. It's not little or much. It's not right or wrong. It's not active or weak. It's beyond that. The sun coming around the shoulder of a mountain, it's no right and wrong. It's not much or little. It's more than that. It's an expression itself. It's life expression itself. It's not a quantity, it's a quality of energy. And this opens up to the multidimensional aspect of approach and Shiatsu. And so I get that image, and I know that Silke, with all her stories and all her aspects in her everyday life, actually is expressing her energy like the sun coming around the shoulder of the mountain. What does it mean? I don't know. Maybe she does. If so, she does, not me. I don't have to understand what's going on. It's just like I'm being in touch with that kind of life, and I'm very curious, and I'm very creative and engaged in that dance with my person, with my client. So now let's put it into a session. How do I do this? I think many of you are having learned like this type of shiatsu where we use a mother hand or resting hand and the sun hand or the explorer hand, or I don't know how you call it in English, in any other terms. So using a mother hand, and then in the shiatsu session, really going on with the sun hand or the explorer hand is a connection on the body with a resting hand and a explorer hand. But in this type of shiatsu, which I'm introducing to you, that image of the hara is taking over the function of the mother hand. So I'm aware of how my client did show me the information about her resonance with life, with what type of feeling of a energetic or energy power or energy potential, energy quality, how she is in touch, and how I translate it in my type of image, of an image. I should say it's not her image, it's my image. I got that image. I got the contact in, I did have the contact with her, and I got an image in myself, in my mind's eye. It's not her image. So, but we're going to talk about it later on. So I'm taking that image as my mother hand. So I got this sun coming around the shoulder of a mountain with this additional, with this type of quality, this warm and cozy and yellowish, orange scenery, which makes a kind of a juicy feeling of her energy. And so I'm using this. So I'm lining up with this image so that this type of frequency is vibrating in my energy field and is in contact with her energy field. So because we are in resonance, we are in contact, not only physically, but also metaphysically, there is no need of a physical mother hand. So I'm letting go of the mother hand on a physical way and having my image of a mother hand, and I'm using two hands now for exploring and dancing with the energy. And it's looking like this. I'm staying alive. With that small intestine picture or image. And I'm dancing along the meridian for now, for this unit. So you see, I got two hands of exploring while my awareness is open for this image and anchoring the energy without using my physical hand. So in this type of alignment, you can see that now the Shiatsu is now like with two hands or two thumbs. The Shiatsu is becoming more like a dance. Yeah, you can put it into that also. So Shiatsu is kind of a dance and also kind of a way of speeding up the rhythm in that Shiatsu dance session. And there's one other thing you could see, which I always use. I don't look where my thumb or my hand is, or I very rarely look. Sometimes I'm looking, but it's just for a little orientation. But I'm looking through my mind's eye. Where do I look? I look into Silke's true being, into her true nature of being, into her world. So while I'm dancing here with that approach through the image of the small intestine meridian, I'm dancing with her life through the small intestine. Let's say it's the small intestine dance today in this session together with support. So I got the small intestine meridian. I'm looking just with a unfocused view, let's say a blurred view. I don't look. It's just an openness in my mind's eye. And what happens, which is very normal and very regular, that I'm not only in contact with the meridian of small intestine on the pathway that Masunaga Sensei taught us, but also through that multidimensional kind of frequency I'm dancing with, I'm open for more of information. So, for instance, when I'm walking here in the session, Silke is leading me this way suddenly. I don't know why, but this type of energy with the frequency that I have in my focus with the small intestine, with the sun coming on the shoulder of a mountain, this power of energy, the life power of Silke, is leading me not only like very like a strategy on a treatment plan, but it's leading me beyond any plan. It's the intuitive touch. It gets very creative now because it leads me doing like this. And it's doing like this. Slows down. And suddenly it's not only leading me to the inner part of the leg, but same time on the outer part. Let's say it's the triple heater here. Why? Because everything is connected to everything. Small intestine aspects, small intestine frequencies could also be inside of the triple heater. And the lower leg, it doesn't, so I leave it. And while I'm dancing with Silke, I remain a receiver. So this is another thing which is very important in this Shiatsu style. I'm not a giver. I'm not giving Shiatsu. I do not treat. I do not give Shiatsu. I'm not about to heal. Because I stay a receiver. I stay kind of a dancer. I think everybody of you knows some ballroom dancing. And in the ballroom dancing, most cases, it's a thing of couples, so pairs, most cases man, woman. And this type of shiatsu, being a receiver and staying a receiver, is like the part of the lady. Because in the most ballroom dances, the man, the gentleman, I hope, is leading through the dance, at least at the beginning of those dances. Maybe they're at some point no any longer, but normally the guy, the man is leading, and the woman, the lady, is following. Because she's aware, she puts up her antennas, and she's aware where are the inputs, the impulses of the man, and how to do the certain movements in the dance. Same thing here. As a shiatsu practitioner, I'm a receiver. I am like the women part of a ballroom dancer. I'm just up to stay and remain a receiver. Because she, my client, the client is the male part. I stay the female part. I stay the non-doing aspect. I stay the receiver. I receive any information, whether to go on or to stay here or to do that once again, or what does that mean? If so, if somebody tells me something, and so on, we will talk about this. But I'm following, I'm a follower. I'm following her energy and her quality of energy, her power of energy, her way of expressing the energy. She is mistress of her life. I don't know. She knows everything because she is whole. She is one with everything. And there is one level or one plane of existence in every person where she knows everything, every one of us. And also Silke, my client. My client knows everything. I don't have to stay in an attitude where I'm a professional giver and I have to know what's going on here. No. And this shiatsu style, no. I'm trusting the universe. I'm trusting the wisdom of life through connecting up with life itself, how life is expressing through her, through my client. So I'm a follower because I know she knows. I'm trusting my perception, my intuition, and therefore I cannot give. I cannot be in a state of giving because then I'm not receiving. So while I'm dancing through the session, I always stay a receiver. I'm not staying a receiver, staying still and waiting. I can be a receiver while I'm dancing, like the female part in ballroom dancing. And how is this dance called? It's called the small intestine dance in this case. I stay aligned with the image, with the sun coming around the shoulder of the mountain. Slowing down here. I'm just following. If I would treat like this, one part of her would say, whoa, no, wait, that's not me. So I'm following where her true being is, where she knows, oh, yes, that's me. That's me. That's my dance. That's life expressing through me. So I stay receiver. So here I'm receiving that I should slow down. So now, because we don't have that much of time, we are just aiming on. Because there is something happening here. Silke, let's say the energy, her energy, or life energy, how life energy expresses through Silke, is telling me, please open up and not only stay in contact with my physical energy, but also with my metaphysical energy. So she's leading me away of her body into the space. Into which space? Into her auric field or into her energy field. And so I'm flowing again. So like this, I'm doing like this. If I'm in touch here, interestingly enough, there is liver that comes up. I'm following the energies. So some type of her energy is like expanding out. And so I'm following this expansion of energy. What does it mean? I don't know. Maybe while I'm following, I got some ideas. Maybe some ideas are related to that image I had, or maybe some ideas I get, like intuitively, are related to some information the client gave me in our talk before the session, at the beginning of the session. Maybe. But maybe some things are happening and I don't know. If so, maybe she knows. Maybe not today. Maybe not right now in the moment. Maybe not after the session, but maybe when she gets back into her everyday life. She got an idea and said, wow, that's interesting. Now I'm experiencing the situation with my boss in a different kind of way. That's just an example. So I'm following the energy. So in this case, one hand is just dancing along the body still more. But the other hand is going into that field. And so what type of energy is it here? Now, this type of energy is kind of a emotional energy. So I'm like circling because I'm following with my hand. That means that her energy is circling and I'm accompanying her with that circling movement. And maybe she gets in touch with some emotional aspects in her life. After the session, I could ask for it if I got the feeling that I should do so. There's another thing going on here. I don't know what. I'm just trying and following. So now I've got this shoulder joint. And there is some stuff going on in the shoulder joint, which tells me, ooh, that's old stuff. Maybe she got an injury years ago. It feels like she got an injury. So I'm just following the energy, just dancing with the energy. See, doing like this. It's not like we do in the basic Shiatsu training. Maybe some of you remember, maybe Kumiko-san remembered like Ohashi did like something like this. Shoulder rotation, shoulder rotation. And centered from my Hara and going into the shoulder rotation movement. I don't do so. I don't have I don't follow my idea of how the special technique should be performed. I let her show me as a receiver, I'm the receiver, what the shoulder is telling me here and how the shoulder has got some desire of being moved or not moved, maybe also. And by the way, I still got the picture of that sun looking around that mountain shoulder. Still following again, and following again, and following again, dancing. Now somehow I'm on spleen here, but this is like inside spleen is like a cozy way of holding small intestine quality. So I'm just curious what life is showing me here, and I'm just following here. And another thing happening also again, she's leading me off the body. So I'm just out of the body in the off-body technique, like we call this type of streaming. I don't do the streaming. I follow the energy through streaming the energy. And so I can watch that the energy is smoothing out here in the arm, in all of the meridian, but also in the connection between the body and the energetic field. And her energy tells me, just leave my hand here, don't put it down here. I think most people would put it down. I don't do so. So, of course, I would go to the other side, maybe, because I got a little framework always going on to start to touch the person and dance around the body. But also, let's make some more steps ahead. Without thinking, my hand is landing here and it's landing on the heart chakra. So Silke is leading me to another plane of the session. She's leading me into the chakra world, which is the multidimensional world, the unity of body, mind, and spirit. And this is related to a special way of the energy field. We got the inside energy inside the body, which is called the material body. This is the inside energy, and we got the outside energy in the field, which is the personal body. Why is it called the personal body? Because it is the body where it predominantly carries the energetics about our feelings and attitudes and thought and memory, and about the idea of life. This is the personal body. But through connecting with the heart chakra here, in the case in this session, Silke is showing me more than that. She's showing me the unity of the material body and the personal body. Maybe some of you heard that already on another date of Kumiko-san's gatherings. So here we are in contact with the ether body, and the ether body is the unity of the inside energy and the outside energy. So inside and outside become one. I just said the word one, and her energy did it. It did, and she smiles because she knew it. she is creating the oneness of body, mind, and spirit. This oneness of physical aspect, of emotional aspects, intellectual aspects, mental aspects, spiritual aspects, into just one big field, one power. And this field is called the ether body. And this ether body I could meet through streaming again. I'm following through the ether body, which is like an egg-shaped energy field. And she's leading me through her ether body, like spiraling or rolling like waves. And I'm following. And at that moment, if she can feel it, she would feel, yes, that's me. And this ether body is anchored in the chakra down the lower end of the ether body and another chakra up there at the upper end of the ether body. We call it the earth star chakra, and we call it the soul star chakra or the heaven chakra. And the ether body stretched out like a powerful grid or powerful field, stretched out and anchoring this unity of body, mind, and spirit. So she led me to this body. So now, when I'm continuing, my Shiatsu is just opening up more, that each touch is related to the whole ether field. So when I'm touching on the body or off the body also, energy is vibrating in the whole unity of the ether body. So let's see what happens. So now this Shiatsu is very expansive, is very opening up, it's very integrated of the inner space and the outer space to unify the inner and the outer to one. Again, there's an access to the shoulder energy. There's a slightly different angle. She leads me into the appropriate angle. And I'm following through her ether energy. I'm just smoothing out the oneness of the ether energy through her body, mind, and spirit, through her material body and the personal body. Enough contact with the shoulder. She tells me just leave it now. Okay. These two chakras are anchoring the ether body. And also using her name helps me to anchor the energy, because now through her name, the affirmation of her full name, which is Silke Langhama, and her full name is anchoring her energy, her true being, not only in her body, but as a true alive being on earth, carrying out and expressing life, the oneness of life, the unity of life, the reconnection to life. So I'm using it while I'm following through her ether body, for instance, doing like this, streaming, and then following to the outline of the ether body, like the egg shape of the ether body, and then soul star chakra, earth star chakra, sorry, earth star chakra and soul star chakra, circular number, anchor. And I could watch like the energy of the sun coming around the shoulder of the mountain is like becoming brighter, but also becoming like more conscious about the moment, about the situation, about the being there. And this is a quality maybe I would mention in a talk after a session with Silke in that case. But let's see what happens if we go a little bit more. We've got a little bit more time, I guess. And I really want to show you something which I guess you never saw in the Shiatsu sessions anywhere. That is the aspect of one light touch. And the aspect of one light touch is that there is a kind of a lightning or kind of a flashlight lightning going through the true being of the person. So this is a very strong technique. So I have to prepare for this through lining myself up, centering my energy, and connecting up with the higher self or the true self that is expressing through me also. So I'm centering in my higher self. My name is Helmut Kigen, and I'm aligned in the true being. And I'm connecting up with the true being of Silke Langhammer now. And when I'm in contact with the heart chakra, or in this case, it's hovering above the heart chakra, I'm aligned, I'm focused, and then I'm just giving in by my mind's eye, or sometimes I call it the Buddha eye. I'm giving an impulse of energy through the whole universe. My name is Helmut Kigen. Her name is Silke Langhammer. One light touch. This is it. Thank you. So I call it the one light touch because on the heart chakra we are connected with any aspects in life. The heart chakra is the middle of any chakra systems, most cases, and the heart chakra is the center of the true being of everybody. In this case, also true being of Silke. Maybe later on I'm asking her how she felt. And so the true being is reconnecting the past, is reconnecting any former lives, is reconnecting any issues, is reconnecting any diseases, is reconnecting and re-establishing any energy aspects to unwind and reconnect into a oneness on a highest plane, which is the true being. Again, to repeat, what is my focus? I'm looking at the true being of Silke Langhammer, the true being of the client, which is there. And in front, there is the human being. Maybe some symptoms or desires or everyday life situations, private problems, or maybe ideas about the next vacation. So could be any things, but I'm looking through those aspects of life, of human life on Earth, and I'm focusing on the true being, where there's everything included, where there is, we could say so, there's healing on a higher plane, because I'm not related to some issues, because I'm looking through, my focus is on the true being, where there is no more healing needed, let's say also. It's healing without healing. So this, I'm looking into the true being. So let's show again. circular number, and connecting out of the heart chakra. Your name is circular number. My name is Helmut Kigen. True being. Now. And that's it. And for reconnecting this, I'm going through the chakras, the unity of all chakras. In this case, on the 13 chakras and the central axis, the prime tube. Reconnecting it with the ether body. I'm following the ether body dynamics, rolling again, but this time more horizontal, not vertical. Outline of the ether body and re-anchoring it into the earth star and the soul star, the heaven star. Now. Okay, so this is another approach which is very advanced, and I came to find this because clients did show me this, how they are connected with the oneness, the great ones, big letters, the great oneness, the true source, or God, or the true being, or true existence, or the essence, anything like that. This is very strong, and it's just that one instant, it's just that one moment. In the end, we could just leave anything away and just do this, but it's, first of all, it's very strong, and on the other hand, I love Shiatsu, and everybody loves Shiatsu, loves to be touched, and therefore I reincorporated into Shiatsu. So I'm just following life until life is leading me into an area, into a level or a dimension where that could happen. It's not in every session, but more and more sessions have opened up, at least for my clients, for this one light touch. It's one light touch, I call it. Yeah. So this is very new and very advanced. And just to close up our meeting today, I have one more thing. And this thing is derived from the work of Kishi. You know Kishi's work, some of you know Kishi's work, which is called Seiki. Kishi was a student of Masanaka Sensei, and he also was just following the energy by itself. I met him a few times, and he always said, theory is not needed. You don't need theory. The most important thing is touch. And I got some ideas from Kishi, and so I came to one thing which was very interesting. And I discovered it maybe 6 or 7 years ago when I was in a big Qigong Congress, where it was a healing Congress with Qigong and TCM and some more Chinese stuff going on. It was in north of Germany. And there I had been at one workshop. And in this workshop, we were exploring the spontaneous movement. It was called the spontaneous Qigong, but with ourselves. And this reminded me to Gyoki, which is one part of Kishi's work, Gyoki. It is to follow or to let go energetic expressions of one's own energy. But relating to Kishi's Seiki work, it's another thing happening, which I discovered in that workshop. I was thinking, why not using this technique or this idea in Shiatsu? So instead of having spontaneous movements out of my own energy, which was the topic of that workshop, I had the idea, why not introducing it into Shiatsu and following spontaneous movement of the client, which then now we could say it was the basic or one of the basic principles of Seiki, of Kishi's Seiki style. But that's another thing. So I will show you that thing, which will be the last. So referring back to Silke's energy and Silke's outlines and Silke's image of her, of the universal energy expressing through her. So it has been the small intestine related energy with that image, the multidimensional image of the sun coming around the shoulder of the mountain with this yellowish, orange colored atmosphere of coziness. So I'm referring back to that one, just checking in. Yeah, still there, same image. And I'm connected up with the ether body, anchored and opened up to the oneness of her true being. And I could follow some more ideas, which I won't do now because we are about to come to an end here. But now I'm tuning into the energy itself. It is Silke Langhammer's true being's energy expressing freely. And so I let myself, as a practitioner, as a receiver, I let myself free out in my techniques, in following her energy. So if I let go, something like that could happen, but I have to stop talking now. Silke Langhammer. Silke Langhammer. And now these dynamics are fading away, having been expressed out through my movements of energetic movements of the type of following the energy. And now the quality translating back onto the body for the idea of finishing up the session, having experienced that dynamics with some kind of information, some kind of impulses, movements. And the energy right now is anchoring back into her anima, which is the absolute life power, anchoring through Silke Langhammer. Thank you, Silke. Thank you for the session. Thank you for the meeting. Thank you for the dance. My name is Helmut Kigen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. So these words are just to finish up and reconnecting and closing up, but also sealing the energy, anchoring and sealing the energy within her, within me. So there are no distractions, no any bits or pieces left. Everything is just finished up. By the end, when I finished up, I got another picture. I got a sacred image. Maybe a few of you heard of the sacred images. And in terms of Silke Lanama, I received a combination of sacred images which referred to her as a healer or a shaman, but also like a magician or even like a clown. It just gives me some information. Sometimes I don't have any clue about information or about images, but very often there is some kind of idea of how Silke is dealing with her life, dealing with her body, with her emotions, with her mental aspects, spiritual aspects, but also dealing, that's important, with maybe any issues or problems. So in many cases, not all cases, but in many cases, I could talk to the client after the session and tell some, not all, but some of the information I got. So in this case, maybe I would say, thank you, Silke. Thank you for being my model. And I could tell her, see, I already spoke it out loud. I saw you as like a magician, like a transformer, like a shaman, like a healer. It has been the kind of energy I'm doing in this movement, just to transform or to do a transition. And sometimes I would ask, can you have any idea or some clue out of it? You don't have to tell me, but does it resonate with you? Yes. See, that's the idea. And in our training, in our Shiatsu trainings and trainings classes, sometimes if we are doing trainings and exchanging through these type of exercises, sometimes we are asking our partner we are training with, what do you think? How much does it resonate, this type of image or information or quality which I received when I tell you this information? How much does it resonate from 1 to 10 or in like in a percentage? So sometimes they say, oh yeah, 80% or 90% or 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 or similar things like that. So this reconnects about that we had real resonance with life, that it wasn't like crazy stuff up in the air. It was real life movements we had been touching and we had been dancing together with. So that's just the thing at the end of our little presentation here. And thank you again, Silke. You could remain laid down. But thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. And maybe, I don't know, Kumiko-san, whether there now is the moment where there is space for some questions or...
Yes, a little bit. Do you have any questions? Thank you for the wonderful presentation. It was amazing. I felt the vibration as well. Now I feel so
Just
much
a little bit.
better. Thank you. Yeah, it's great.
My appreciation, yeah. Just a little part. There could be much more things to share. For instance, about the atomic body I'm working with in Shiatsu. But let's stay like it is today. and finish up. But if there are any questions, please feel free to ask.
Any questions? Yeah, Jim. Mhm.
So Helmut, I would love to come and have a session with
Yeah,
you.
me too.
Sorry, you live further than even Kumiko.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful for me to watch you integrate. You know, I only studied with Kishi once, and it was interesting to see how you bring that back into Shiatsu. I've studied also a little bit with Alice Wilden, so it's something that I find interesting, and to see how you have taken Pauline's work and evolved it. And also I saw little Dr. Gregory in there with the
Sure.
which is not
Right.
Shiatsu.
Yeah.
But it is just really, to me, the gift was I just got to see this reflection back of these things I studied along with you. And, you know, we've all, even though I don't know most of you, like we've studied. And it's really interesting to see how it evolves. And to me, that's a great reflection. So I was a receiver on this end here in my house in Brooklyn. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I have to say that I think Silke had been curious about some things also. So because she sometimes had been watching sessions of mine in my practice, sometimes with other persons. For instance, you never know what happens. And she knows that sometimes crazy things happen. Sometimes just very boring things are going on. It's not about the thing, but it could be that sometimes crazy things happen like I remember that sometimes in this type of dance, something happens like this. Wait, I can remember, and maybe you can remember too. There have been sessions when things had been creating like again, it's Silke's energy, but one type of approach could be this. So I'm just going into the energy and just following the dynamics, and sometimes it takes over and the energetic power increases like this. It can happen. So now it's like a demo version, but it can happen that maybe you can feel the movement, because when I go into this, it's like when I do this and following, it's another thing. It's different than I would do this. And she can feel the difference immediately. But if I increasing the dynamics of the energetic resonance, the energetic contact and movement and vibration, it can happen that things are expressing out more intensively. And this is just kind of a power which is extraordinary. So I know that sometimes crazy things happen. You know what I mean? Just one more thing, yeah. Yeah, it's just an example. Thank you. So any more questions for today? If not, thank you very much. I was very happy to share some things with you. Maybe, I don't know, there's another chance to have another meeting via your platform, Kumiko-san.
That would be
My
great.
pleasure to share more things and go into more deeply. But anyway, thank you, everybody. And
Thank you so
maybe there are
much.
some aspects, ideas you can take with you and remember in one of your sessions.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend and see you next time. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Domo, domo, domo.
どうもどうも、またね。
Thank you,
Thank
Kumiko, for bringing
you.
us together again.
Oh, sure,
Or
my
still.
pleasure. It's so much fun. Thank you.
See you soon.
See you.